I really would like to introduce our Lieutenant Governor, Matt Pinnell. He is a huge advocate for agritourism and farmers markets across the state. He sees the value in what we're doing, and he wants to tell us a little bit more about how he supports us.
Well, thank you all so much. I remember last year, many of you all here were at last year's Agritourism Conference and Expo in an ice storm, if you remember that. All the schools were shut down, and there were still this many people there at that expo last year. And I've been talking ever since, this whole first year of being sworn into office, I've been talking about you. I hope that's okay. I have been crisscrossing the state talking about how important this industry is and talking about how there were 500 people in a standing room only convention center during an ice storm. And seriously, in almost every speech that I give, I want you to know that not only do you matter to the state of Oklahoma, but really you're teaching people about Oklahoma. You're teaching people that agriculture really is the backbone still in the state of Oklahoma. I know Blaine Arthur would give that an amen. And speaking of Blaine, you also need to know, I don't know if it's the first time that we've had such a partnership between the Department of Tourism and the Department of Ag, but it is a true partnership. And you'll hear from Secretary Arthur, who's just doing a fantastic job at the Department of Ag. But there's a true partnership today in the state of Oklahoma between tourism and agriculture. Agritourism. One of the first phone calls that I made when I became Lieutenant Governor was to her office, and I think they thought it was a prank call when the Lieutenant Governor was calling up the Department of Ag asking, hey, how can we partner here? This is the fastest growing cottage industry inside the tourism department as a whole in the state of Oklahoma. Agritourism. Fastest growing. We got Route 66 in the state. We got Native American history in the state. I want to do that too, don't get me wrong. But agritourism is a really, really big deal in the state of Oklahoma. And we need to make sure that we champion it, and we get behind it, and we have your back. And so for the last year, I've been learning about you, learning about the industry, working with Blaine, listening to Blaine. We're working this legislative session. Certainly there's a number of pieces of legislation that you may be talking about today. We want to make it, again, define what that farmer's market is and make sure that we open up more markets for you. We have got to get in front of this and lead as a state. I mean, I want to be a leader across the country. I want other states looking at us and jealous about how proactive we're being when it comes to this industry. I truly mean that. I wouldn't be standing up in front of this podium saying if I didn't mean it. I hope someone quotes me on it. We should be proactive on this industry because any state that plays to their strengths is winning. That's all I want to do. Let's not turn Oklahoma into something that it's not. I don't want to be Minnesota. I don't want to be Indiana. I certainly don't want to be the state to the south of us, whatever the name of that state is. It is down there. Forget its name, but it is down there. I want to be Oklahoma. Let's just be Oklahoma. And if we're going to be Oklahoma, then the agriculture is going to continue to be one of the backbones in the state of Oklahoma. And, by the way, make you a whole lot of money. Can I get an amen? Because, listen, this is economic development. Yes, you're in this because you're passionate about this, about healthy living and creating better food, and it is better food for Oklahomans. But you're also, many of you all in this room make a living in this industry. Most of you probably make it, and we want you to make a living doing this. This is economic development. One other point that I continue to make to communities across 77 counties, to retain and recruit talent to counties, to cities, your industry, we have to make sure that we're supporting it. That's what the next generation is demanding. They're demanding your choices, having access, better access to you and their communities. If not, that next generation will leave. You know this. You've been screaming from the rooftops about this. I want you to know as I crisscross this state, as I talk to that next generation, I mean, my 14-year-old daughter is one of the first people that I go to. If she doesn't have access to you in whatever community that she chooses to live in, and hopefully that is in Oklahoma, then guess what? She's going to leave. She'll move closer to where you are at. And so that is a critical point for us. If we're going to continue to grow this state, if we're going to continue to be a top 10 state, then we need more people to stay in the state of Oklahoma. We need to recruit more people to the state of Oklahoma. And if we're not leading in this area, then it's going to be very difficult for us to retain and recruit talent to communities across the state of Oklahoma. So I just want to say thank you for what you're doing. We're going to have your back. We're going to be with you. Those of you all that want to come up to the state capitol, my door is always open to you. It's always open to you. And this is an area that I'm extremely passionate about. Always have been, but now that I'm in elected office and I have the ability to affect change in this area, positive change where it needs to happen, I'm even more passionate about it. I know people in your industry that can come to me and tell me, hey, this just doesn't seem right that we do it this way in Oklahoma. Do you think we might be able to affect change? This is how it works. This is how politics should work. You come directly to politicians, and if you don't know your local state rep, I'll finish on this. If you do not know your local state rep or state senator, you're not doing it right. Session just started, so they're drinking water out of a fire hose down at the state capitol over the next few months. So you can go up to their office and talk to them, but the best time for you to connect with your state rep or state senator is to get them to your business. Get them to your farm or ranch. Get them to your business and show them how great your industry is. Those of you all that do that are affecting change. You are. I mean, Blaine and I get it. We're going to have your back. But you've got to make sure that you get to those local state reps and state senators. You've got to. Because a lot of them don't know this industry. A lot of them are not grown up in this industry. I didn't grow up in this industry. But I know people like Kat Robinson. I know people like Blaine Arthur and others in this room. So continue to advocate, continue to come to events like this, learning best practices. You're going to have a lot of great presentations today to help you when you go back into your communities. But I just want you to know I'm going to be with you. That this is a really big deal for the state of Oklahoma. Tourism is the third largest industry in the state of Oklahoma. The third largest export industry in the state is tourism. We generate over $700 million in state and local tax revenue off tourism in the state. We should be a billion-dollar state. That is the goal of my administration and in my lieutenant governor office as your secretary of tourism and branding. There is no reason why Oklahoma should not be a billion-dollar state and local tax revenue. We will be if we champion agritourism. Thank you all so much for your time. Appreciate you.